In this video, we are diving into a full tutorial on how to design your own front panel using Inkscape. You'll get a clear hands-on overview from drawing the panel to creating your custom controls. And that's not all! You could get a bonus template file and a special Inkscape extension I built just for this. There are many software options for designing front panels, but I find Inkscape to be the best choice. It offers a great mix of artistic flexibility and precise layout tools for positioning, sizing and alignment. It's not exactly like a CAD program, but it gets close enough for many design needs. Inkscape can also be extended with small software snippets you can write yourself, allowing for custom features. This is not a tutorial for Inkscape in general, though. There are many other videos for that purpose. What I show you is how to work with Inkscape specifically for designing front panels and using an extension I wrote myself along with a ready-to-use template that includes everything you need to get started. Speaking of extensions, there's also a great one by Arten Synths, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, that helps you create scales for potentiometers. It's pretty useful, although it doesn't include a function that plays a center cross, which is a bummer. To make things easier, I've created a set of predefined controls that include both internal and handling dimensions to help with positioning, plus a visual knob so you can better imagine how your finished panel will look. So with no further ado, let's get started designing your panel with Inkscape. Here's a quick overview of the software. Inkscape is a vector drawing tool. Which means that what we draw is represented by vectors. By contrast, let's say with paint, when we draw something on paint, it is a collection of dots that are visible when we zoom in. By contrast here, when we zoom in, we can't see any dot because the drawing is represented by vectors. On the left side of the program, this left pane, we have the classical control tools for drawings, the selection, the nodes selection tool, the shape builder, and here for drawing shapes we have the rectangle, circles, polygons, and here the pen tool to draw lines, strike lines, and the text tool to insert texts. On top we have the arrangement tools, the position, the dimensions, and on the right here we have the layers, the fill and stroke properties, the object properties, the properties of the selected object, and then the alignment tools and transformation tools. And here on the rightmost side of the program we have the classical tools like new, open file dialog, print, copy, paste, cut, zooming tools, and here duplicate, clone and group, and here more advanced tools. This tutorial is based on the front panel template and the complementary extension for Inkscape that I wrote. You can download both from my website, but at the time of recording this video the files aren't yet available. The template and extension are free, though if you want to give something, it would be really appreciated. You can buy a super thanks clicking here on the icon on the video or below the video. When you download the files, put the front panel SVG file somewhere on your computer and then copy these two files into the Inkscape extension folder. To find where that folder is, open Preferences and then go to System and look at the user extension here and click open. So that's the folder where you need to copy the two extensions files. And when you've done that, restart Inkscape. Now under the extension menu, you can find the accident and science tools and toggle front panel features. Now let's open the template and save it as new file. Let's call it test panel. All right, so we have a new copy or new copy, personal copy, and we can work on this. And by running the extension now, you can see we can toggle the visibility of the knobs, for example, or the dimensions. Let's start designing the panel. Before we begin, hide the instruction layer here so it doesn't disturb our design. And the first step is to resize the main gray shape here, not this, which represents the panel, to match the final size of your physical panel. For example, let's say we have here, let's say 70 millimeters, and the height, let's leave under 50 millimeters, like this. You can also change the color of the panel to match your preferences. If you are planning to print it on a transparent film, you can make it also transparent, changing the color of the panel. For example, here we can make it transparent, but for the sake of designing the panel, I suggest to toggle this color just at the end before printing the panel. Personally, I prefer a dual light gray panels with pale colors, features like those you see on medical or lab equipment, but that's just a matter of taste. Now the page is already set in millimeters, but if you want to work in inches, just go to page settings and change the units. You can here change the units. Once resized, you can realign the cutting guides that are these squares, these angles here, this square here. So select both, then select the panel, go to align and distribute, and select this one. So the yellow part is the part that is the reference, while the gray, pale blue parts are the part that moves with the alignment. The red line indicates the point of alignment. So let's click on this, and voila. And now let's move the internal space, that is this yellow shape, and this represents the space available inside the enclosure. It's a guideline to help the position control so that they don't interfere with the internal components or the enclosure itself. Resize this, let's say we set this to 65 millimeters and the same height, and we move this to match the actual distance from the edges of the front panel, and this is usually centered. So we select both the yellow shape and pressing the shift on the keyboard, we select also the gray shaped panel, and here we make sure to select last selected here. So the last element that we selected becomes the reference, and so we move the alignment here to make it to the center and to the center on horizontal axis. So this is now perfectly centered in respect to the panel. Once the panel shape and internal guidelines are set, go to layers here. If you don't have the layers visible, go to layer and click here to layers and objects. Lock both the internal space and the basic panel. Now if we click on this all things, nothing happens. Now it's time to place controls on the panel. So you can select an item here on the left side of the template where the stock is located. Let's say we copy this element, using Ctrl C on Windows, and then Ctrl V to paste the new item here, and we can move the control here on the panel where we like. So to change the label, click on the text tool and then click on the text, and here we can change the label with another name, for example tone. We can change every one of these numbers here. We can -6 dB and so on. It is pretty wrong because it would have been better to start from here with 0 dB. You can skip some of these. Let's say this, we delete this, we change this with -3 dB. We skip this one, we change this with -6 dB. What the hell? And then delete this and so on. Now we can check how this appears just with the knob and the scale using the extension. And as long as we use the live preview and we don't apply the changes, as soon as we close the window, everything goes back as it was before. And you can also add more features like a drawing. Let's say we want to add a draw here, maybe a peak here, let's say. So we draw a line, let's say segments here, another segment, and another final segment here. Okay, let's change using this tool, the node tool, and we move the part here. Let's zoom a little bit so you can see better. We move this. So let's say we create a kind of peak. Oops. Keep the control key pressed while moving the node so it doesn't change even if I move vertically. We have created the draw. Let's scale it a little bit to make it suitable to be put here. And now we want to put this element here inside this group. So to change this, we just go here to the main drawing. We locate this element is enhanced, is out selected. So we see here we have the knob, we go there, we go down here, we have the scale, and here we have the group which represent the scales. So we can select this element, this path, and we move the path down here inside the scale. So now it is part of the scale. So when we use the extension again, we can see only the scales, and when we select the visibility of the scale, it follows, even the drawing we added follows the same rule. And I'll show you later on the video how to create your own control. With certain controls you may want to remove some features of the control. Let's say you have a selector that only has 6 positions, so you may want to remove all the unused marks and letters and labels. So to do this, double click the group, so you can delete the elements that you don't want. Alright, and then we can change the label with the name we want to have, and then finally to deselect everything, because now Inkscape doesn't show this, but we are inside this group, and so we have to click outside more times, so it doesn't select, it deselects everything. So when we select the control, we select the final group. Also, you may want to move a little bit the label, and to select directly the label and not the whole thing, you can also keep pressed the control key on your keyboard and click on the object. So you select one click the element you want to select, and then you can move it in your keyboard, your keys, up, down, up arrow and down arrow keys to move at the proper place, and then click multiple times outside of the drawing to be sure to have deselected everything. Once you've placed all the necessary controls on your panel, you can rearrange them to meet your both technical and aesthetic requirements, and usually the controls should be arranged in logical groups. So for example, here we have frequency range, Q, frequency, these are close together. Well, okay, when you're happy with the layout, it's time to align all the controls. So we can start using the extension, and we hide the scales, the knobs, and we leave only the dimensions. So it will be easier to align the elements. So we see here they are not well aligned, and to make a good alignment, I suggest a trick. Let's trace a line, a vertical line like this, and then a horizontal line. To make a perfect horizontal or vertical line, keep the control key pressed while drawing the line. While it is pressed, as you see, it constrains the line to be horizontal or at the fixed angles like this. Whoops. So one thing, you can move the object, the control, even with its suggested, recommended area for the finger space, which is this green area, or the external dimensional circle, which goes even outside of the panel, because this is not the real dimensions, internal dimension. The real internal dimension is this pink shape. Here we have this control and all these controls that are not well aligned, so we click every one of these, keeping the shift key pressed, and then the last item must be this vertical line, so we can align vertically using this command. So let's click this, and everything goes aligned perfectly with this line. And then we move this line on this side, all the controls aligned. Let's check for a moment if everything goes well. So let's show the knobs and everything. All right. Okay, are you ready to print? Once your panel is ready, you can print or export it. Before doing so, you have to go here in the and hide the internal space and maybe the base panel. If you don't want to print the base panel, you can change this base panel, selecting it and changing the color if you want. And now we open the extension again, and we select what we want to print. For example, we want to print only dimensions, but not scales and not knobs. So let's remove everything, and we are ready to print. Or as you just show the scales, so you can print your panel as it would be when the final panel. I've done a mistake here. This part is not exactly how it was supposed to be, to stay inside the panel. Also, if you want to export, you click here export, and make sure to select page here. So not document, not selection, but page. So the whole page is printed, but the parts that is on the right side here is not printed, is excluded from the output of the export. And here we can select PDF, so we can that can be printed with an external service. And here we have the exported PDF with the panel. And when you print from a PDF, remember to disable fit to page or resize. You want to print it at 100% scale, 1 by 1. As we've seen early on, each control consists of 3 groups: dimensions, this part here, the scale, this part here, and labels, and the knob. Right click on the object, object properties. Here we go. We have here the properties of the object, and here we have the label. We have the label of the object. As you can see here we have attributed the name FP knobs. First group, we create a group for the dimensions, and we give the name FP dimensions. Then we create the group with the scale or artwork and labels, and we give this the name FP scales. And finally, we can assemble everything together. The scale on top of the element of the dimensions, and finally we can align the knob on top of it. And finally, we can group together to form a single control element. Important, if you name an object that's not a group, the extension won't work on it. So if, for example, if you name directly a text object giving the name FP scales, for example, it won't work because this is not a group. Now I'm gonna create a new object, and first I draw the shape, the color. Sorry, that was a mistake, and here it must be black. All right. Draw the element inside. Let's say we have a rectangular object. Let's give, let's select here fill, the color, and then let's pick the color pink here. So the dimension inside of the panel. And finally we draw a center. Let's say this is 8 millimeters in diameter, and we gave the color white, and we put the center with 2 small lines. Let's copy this, paste, rotate by 90 degrees, select both, and now align one on top of the other, and then select path and combine so that this becomes a single cross. And we can put this at the center of this part. Let's group this, and this at the center of this object. So this is the center where the hole will go. And then everything centered, because this will go at the center. And now we are okay. And let's group this together, and we have created the dimension object. So let's give this the name FP dimensions, and click here to set the name. Position 0, then position 1, and then position 2. So let's center this line here as a reference, and now put this number here, the center here. Okay, again 30 degrees, number 1 here, again 30 degrees from this direction. Remember, hold the control of your keyboard to constrain the angle. We can delete this line that was used as a guide, and we can group these 3 elements together. And one moment, let's copy this and paste this in place. Paste in place. So we have another cross here, center cross, so we can link together the center cross with the other elements. Let's check if I don't have made any. Okay, this is dimensions, and this is our element already just made. And now give the name FP scales set. Let's give the name, and then we have last thing to do is to put the knob likely centered around this point, and this let's move this on top, and this group will be named FP knobs. Set this. So we have created a new control. Let's bring all the elements together and group everything together, and we have done. This is our new control. We open the extension and test. You can test if it works. Let's hide the knobs. Okay, let's hide dimensions. Okay, and finally scale. Okay, of course, nothing is visible now, but it's fine. So the new control, the new custom control is ready. And for today, that's all, folks. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.